Welcome everyone to this live stream of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I'm Leatherface's goofy cousin, Smitherface, and this is Jacob Martin.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Smitherface?
I'm good. I just ate some people and, I ran through Texas, with the chainsaw, so we're good.
Oh, did you get the nice fancy gold chainsaw that says "My saw is family"?
No, unfortunately, the new line wouldn't let me have the rights to it. Alright, so, alright, anyway. I was gonna do that when you first jumped on, and I just thought it was funny because I'm like, I'm gonna put this on, and then I was waiting on you, and so I didn't know you were in the chat, and I'm like, oh hey there. I was like, damn, that would have been so funny. Like, what the hell? Like, I was nice than that, but yeah. So anyway, yeah. We're gonna talk about, we're gonna do some off topic, and we are gonna, review the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and so how are you doing? What movies have you watched so far this year?
mm, yeah, I've watched. You talking about like new releases 2022?
Or TV shows even. What have you watched so far?
Well, I've been watching. I've been trying to catch up on all the Marvel stuff, and I'm trying to get through Andor. And I've been watching. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was my favorite movie of this year. I like the Batman. So many good movies this year. The Elvis movie was pretty good. There was Top Gun Maverick, of course.
Well, yeah, I've seen most of those movies. Like, I've seen most of them. Mostly, I just been like I said, I went to the theater a lot this year because not because of COVID or anything like that. I just have not had the urge to like go. Like, there's not been a. Oh yeah, I did go to the movie theater last week. Oh, actually, I forgot about that. I really wish I would have lied and said I didn't go. I had a great time last time. Oh yeah, I went and saw a fucking awful movie last week.
Oh,
It was one of the worst pieces of shit I've seen. Like, it was just as bad as the Monsters I watched yesterday. Okay, I went and saw Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
I've heard that one was bad.
So, yeah, no, not only is it bad, okay, like, I was so angry watching this movie because it goes against everything. Like, they tried to say, oh, those movies, the good ones, were just like fictional, like, movies. They actually, oh, these are just movies. And the creeper doesn't even drive the good truck. He drives like like this looks like a fan film. That's what it looks like. It looks like someone shot a fan film and then just released it in theaters.
Oh wow.
It's that bad. I mean, the CGI is even bad too, and they shot most of it on a green screen too. And you could tell some shots are green screen, and like it's overly lit productions, and like I really just like I was literally texting, Stephanie. Yeah, Stephanie from All by the
All
Popcorn.
that
I was
popcorn. Yeah.
texting her and I was like, "This is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen." And she's like, "Why are you even still watching it? Get out of there!" Finally, she's like, "Get out of there!" She gives me an emoji going, "Get out of there now!" So finally, I'm like, "There's only 20 minutes left. This fuck this. I'm not gonna stand there for another 20 minutes." I get up to go, and by the way, context for the scene. So the manager comes in the theater, or one of the theater guys to clean the theater because they're like, I guess they're trying to get off early, and I'm sitting there doing this. Texting. And then the guy's like, enjoying the movie, sir? I'm like, no, not really. This movie sucks. He goes, yeah, I heard it's bad. And he goes, I said, well, enjoy your movie, and walks out. And so about another 15 minutes go by, and I'm just like, and I start texting Stephanie and two other people, and I'm just like, and it's like, I heard that's bad. Why were you even watching it? I was like, because I'm stupid, okay? I wanted to see if the movie was good, because I'm one of those people that if someone says it's bad, I have to see it for myself. I can't just sit there and say, oh, this is good. And so I'm just one of those people that I can't. I can't. I have to see it. And then I regretted doing that. I was like, you know what? From now on, I'm just going to trust people's judgment because this is one of the worst. I was like, this is the worst experience I've had. And it's not like I would rather it would be a good movie and someone be in the theater talking because at least then I know the movie's good. It's just the people. But compared to when there's no one in the theater, I was the only sole person in the theater. There's no one else in the theater. I literally was just on my phone. No one cared because I was the sole person in the theater. And so I'm just like, why in the hell am I here? Like, what bad choice in my life decision did I make coming to this movie? And so I left the movie. I started walking after Stephanie said, get out of there. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I got up and I started walking out, and the theater owner's like, or one of the employee was like, you leaving? I'm like, yeah, this movie sucks ass. And he goes, well, if you want, since you're the only person in there, we'll just give you a refund. We'll just give you a refund if you want. I was like, really? There's only like 10, 20 minutes left of that movie. And he goes, yeah, that's fine. No, you're the only person here anyway. And so I got a $10 back. I got it was like 11 something, but still I got my 11 something back, and I was like really happy. I was like, hey, I got to see a shitty movie for free. Well, mostly. I was like I'm not gonna lie, just you should just pirate this movie if you really are that inclined to watch it, because it's not worth it. It's not. It is not.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen any of the other movies, so
they're good. The first two were decent. The first one is great. The second one's pretty good. It's not as great as the first one. They go on some parts are comedic. The third one's awful, but the third one's much better than this one. Like, I watched that movie and I'm like, that movie is Citizen Kane compared to this movie.
Oh. Wow, that's a comparison.
Like, I walk out of this movie going, I hate. I literally did say a few things. I was like, I texted Darnell a couple of things, and he was like, I would not say that out loud anyway. Because I said, because I was ranting about something, and he was like, I said, this sucks that this person, it makes it worse. I was just talking about, like I said, Victor Salva, who made the first two.
When the original director, like,
he's a pedo. Yeah, sex offender. I said, this is what Darnell said. You shouldn't have said this. I wouldn't have said that, but I'm going to tell you, okay? Because I said, it's sad. Victor Salva's a better director than this guy. Although I said, and I even also said a couple of other things that he's like, I was like, I wouldn't have said that, man. I'm like, I would never say that out loud, man. Because I'm like, but I'm serious though. It's sad when a pedophile can upstage you. I said, it's sad when a pedophile can upstage you. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like,
sure.
I was like, Darnell was like, don't say that out loud. I'm like, it's seriously though. Why? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying, I'm not saying Victor Salva's a good guy or nothing. I'm just saying, if you put them two in the room, who's the better director, him or this guy? Victor Salva's the better director. I'm sorry, just like Polanski's a great director, he's just a bad person. You know what I mean?
Separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, you can separate the art from the artist. Yeah, just like Kevin Spacey. I love Kevin Spacey movies. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I like his work. Like, there's movies I'll go back and watch. Like Horrible Bosses. I love that movie. But am I gonna sit there and say, oh, I love Kevin Spacey, or am I gonna have a Kevin Spacey poster on my wall? Hell no, I'm not.
No. People think you're just as bad as he is if you.
I would never. I would never. It's sad. It's sad. I was like, it was sad. Was I was talking about. I was like, it's sad. I was like, you know what? I've never seen House of Cards, and everyone says it's so good, but they said the final season sucks. Because they said it's Spacey. They said Kevin Spacey was killed off on the show. And so they just had to rewrite the show, and it was awful because they said if Spacey was there, at least it would have been better. And I'm like, well, you know what the sad thing was? What they should have done was they should have hired someone else that looked like Spacey to shoot his stuff. That way, it could have probably worked out better. I'm just saying, there's people that look like him, I'm sure, that are not bad people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways around it. People just don't want to do that. Or CGI him in there. CGI. Yeah. I mean, but anyway.
That would have been weird.
That would have been weird. Been like a Star Wars Rogue One where, like, Moff Tarkin's like he was like, is that's CGI? It looks like a video game character. It doesn't even look like a real person. Looks like I'm watching a video game character in a movie.
Yeah.
By the way, we're about to review a movie that one of us really liked and the other one did not, called Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. A movie that, again, one of us thought it was the best movie in the franchise, while the other one thought it was, I was like, this is not that good. And so that person told me, oh, hey, this is I actually enjoyed this more than the first three. And I'm just like, I was like, what the hell's the matter with you? I was like, but yeah, so yeah, this apparently, so if there's ever a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 merchandise bot, just know who bought it. That guy right there. This guy. This
Well,
guy right
I
there.
wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan. I just
Oh, well,
know.
bull crap. He told me off topic. I'm going to go buy a shirt that says Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He goes, you know who my favorite? Fuck Gunnar Hansen. My favorite Leatherface is Arlie Mekra. Arlie Milahoff, whatever his name is. And he said, that's my favorite Leatherface. Viggo Mortensen's better than the other actors in the first one. I'm like, he didn't say that. He did not say that. I'm just bullshitting. He
Yeah,
did say he enjoyed it.
he's a joker.
But anyway, all right. So we are now that we're back on topic to this. I guess we should say before. Do you have anything else you want to add before we jump onto this?
Well, nah, I can't really comment on the Jeepers Creepers. I haven't seen that. It was just fun hearing you rant about that.
Oh, and also I was gonna rant about the monsters too, but I'm like, but yeah, I don't. I'm gonna say this right now. The monsters is way worse than Jeepers Creepers 3.
Oh,
But guess what? The monsters looks better than Jeepers Creepers 3. Like the story is weaker than Jeepers Creepers 3 story. Jeepers Creepers Reborn has a better story, but the monsters looks better.
mm,
You
yeah.
know. By the way, everyone online shitting on that movie. I got a review I'm gonna drop Friday for it.
Oh, the monsters.
I'm gonna drop the review Friday. Oh, and it's gonna be a very bad review because it's just gonna be me ranting on "fuck this movie, fuck you, Rob Zombie." No, it's not gonna be that crucial, but that's gonna be like I am gonna tell Rob Zombie. I think this is an awful movie. I really think I'm not gonna message him for that, but I'm gonna say this is his worst movie ever. Okay, and I don't understand how the hell he got to make this movie. Like, why?
Yeah,
Like, seriously.
I just saw the trailer enough to know that the movie was bad. I ain't even wasting my time on that one.
Yeah, just it's really ridiculous. And also, by the way, the reason I got a mustache right now is me and Jacob are working on something. I grown out for a project me and Jacob are doing that's coming up because
Yeah.
we're gonna do something. We're doing this. You want to tell them or should I?
No, I think I'll do it because it's on my channel.
Okay.
Well, it's either gonna be this Saturday or the next. Depends on what, because I'm gonna be taking my computer to the shop this week. It's been having some issues, but if my computer is fixed by Saturday, if not, it'll be the following. I'm gonna be hosting a watch party of Scary Movie, the spoof of the Scream movies, with Jacob Collins, and he's gonna be in character of.
You're gonna be in character too. You're gonna be in character too.
Yeah.
Not just me. I sent you some picture. He never seen the movie, so I sent him some
I haven't
video.
seen the movie. I still gotta figure that one out.
Well, you can always dress up like Scream. I mean, there's that. You want to dress up like Scream,
I
but
just get the ghost face mask.
yeah, put the mask on, just get a black shirt on, and be like, "What's up?" Which I'm going as Doofy, who is Dewey in the Scream movies. Doofy. It's called Doofy in this one. Doofy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and yeah. So, and also he is apparently mentally challenged in that movie
Compared to
Dewey,
who seemed normal.
Oh, but there's just watch. You'll understand. But it's actually funny. It works. But you gotta wait. I'm not gonna do the mentally challenged accent. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. So if you're expecting that, you're not gonna get that. I'm like, I will dress up like a mentally challenged person. I'm not gonna be like Ben Stiller.
You're gonna be like Ben Stiller, Simple Jack.
Simple Jack. I would no. Ben Stiller still got the worst one. Ben Stiller still did the worst impression. That movie, even in Scary Movie, that was a godsend compared to Ben Stiller doing his.
All right.
I mean, but seriously though, like, all right. So now here is our review. Here's our review. All right. Now, all right. So here's a little backstory. This is a sequel to the first two Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and what it was after the box office flop of the second one, and Tobe Hooper saying basically "fuck this movie." Kim Henkel and Tobe Hooper sold the rights to New Line Cinema, who retained the rights, and it wasn't. And also, so and I know you're like, well, so they had all the way up until 2006, but I understand some people are like, well, then how come they got to make the fourth film with Lionsgate? Well, what happened was there was a flaw in the contract or something to where Kim Henkel was able to make, even though he didn't have the rights to the movie, he was able to make like a sequel to the first film. So he just that's how he did it. His explanation was, oh, the third one never happened. So basically, he's like, okay. And so basically, that's how he was able to do it. And so basically here. And so all right, hold on a second. I got some clips I'm pulling up. But anyway, he was able to make he was able to make the thing for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, he was able to make the fourth film, and so there's a whole backstory behind it and everything. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was trying to set this up while I was doing it. But anyway, we're gonna show you the trailer real quick for this movie, and then we're gonna talk about the movie, and we're gonna hear Jacob's thoughts and my thoughts after the trailer. Okay. Also, I gotta put a warning up for this because there is a loud audio warning. So if you have a headset on or something, you might want to take the fuck off because you're gonna hear this shit. Okay? So you might want to take that shit off.
Some tales are told, then soon forgotten. But a legend is forever. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Now, from the producers of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the real terror begins November 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That was like probably one of the funniest teaser trailers I think I've seen. Him coming out of the water, throwing the chainsaw, and
I'm glad you said
getting
that.
the powers of Thor wielding the chainsaw.
I'm glad that you said that, Jacob, because I got a little backstory behind that trailer.
What the heck was that trailer?
Apparently, all right, according to the filmmakers, that trailer was shot the second they got the rights to the film. They literally greenlit a trailer to be made. Without production, they didn't even have a director or nothing. They just literally got Kane Hodder, who played Jason in the Friday the 13th movies. They got him to dress up like Leatherface. They had someone like Greg Nicotero's company make a mask, or maybe Robert Kurtzman or whatever, and they put a mask over. They put KMB put a mask over Kane Hodder. They went out there with some TV commercial director, shot the thing over the weekend, and then they put it out in theaters. They sent that out to theaters. Before, they didn't even have a cast, a director, nothing. They literally just came up with an idea, and they had the slogan that said the Saw's family. That's why it makes no sense. That teaser makes no sense. And none of that was in it. Kane Hodder's not in the movie at all. Although he did do the stunts work for this movie, but he's not Leatherface at all. I mean, you're just like, and the mask doesn't even look the same. You're just like, what the hell?
Yeah, that is a strange incident, because normally you make trailers when you have your cast and you have your crew and you have your footage. This is new to me.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, yeah, Leatherface is the movie we're reviewing. So if you haven't seen it, you probably should go out there and see it, because it is one of those movies that is pretty freaking bad. And we're showing, this is some footage right here of the movie. This is Jacob Martin's favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's just from only seeing the first 3 movies. Let's see. Watching a lot of these for the first time. I've only seen the first 3 at this point, and I think I have a tricky history, I guess, with the franchise, because okay, there we go.
I'm sorry. I'm just like
experiment a little bit, but
yeah, I know. We're just like I'm trying to put the clip right here so that way you can put our faces up here. I think I got it now. Okay, I think I got it.
Let me get back to what I was saying. sounds like this is definitely a hot take, but I'm not that crazy on the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, I respect the craft, well made from Toby Hooper and stuff, but I didn't like any of like the teenage characters in the movie. I just thought they were all in the wing. I didn't even care for Leatherface in the movie. Like, you just see this big guy swinging around with a hammer, making goofy noises. Like, I couldn't take that seriously. The Cannibal Family stuff I thought was disturbing, especially the hitchhiker guy. I kind of wish he was the main killer. I guess that's just my personal opinion on that, but just the movie just doesn't like stand out to me compared to like the best slashers like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, which I think are far better. I actually just watched Texas Chainsaw 2 for the first time. I just filmed the collab that's going to be on Ryan Cam's channel for his upcoming Scary Mania series in October, but I'll share my brief thoughts here. 2 is interesting. It's a lot goofier than the first, and aside from like the opening kill, which I thought was creative and goofy and over the top, the rest of the movie just didn't work for me. You just could not take the movie seriously because of how far-inched in camp it is. Like, even like the extended Cannibal Family, all of them just felt like joke characters in the film, and it was hard diving into the more disturbing aspects of the story when everyone was just a clown the whole time. It was fun seeing Dennis Hopper in that movie, though. I liked him as the sheriff. But Texas Chainsaw 3, Leatherface. The movie's flawed. We'll dive into. I guess we'll. I know you said you didn't like this movie. I do admit there's flaws in the movie.
It's better than 2.
We'll
My
get
personal opinion is better than 2.
Oh, it's better than 2. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's way better
Okay,
than 2.
I came to the. I thought I was under the impression that you thought this was the worst of the 3.
No. The worst of the 3, I would say, is 2.
Oh,
But
okay.
the worst of the whole series is the next one. If you watch the next one, you're gonna trust me. You're gonna have some thoughts on that one.
Oh,
I would be shocked if you said, "Oh, that was great." I would be shocked.
The next one is the one that Matthew McConaughey was in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've heard nothing but bad things. I've seen the clip of McConaughey going.
I did a review for it with Leslie.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that review and it cracked me up. But back to 3. I just think of the 3 that I've seen. Not only did I get into the production value and filmmaking of it the most, but of all the 3 movies, this is the only one I've seen where I was genuinely terrified of Leatherface. I don't know if they tweaked. I think they did tweak the design of his mask. I think that helped for one thing. And every time he showed up, he was a menace. Like, he shows up, you see him with his chainsaw. The first scene where he comes and goes after that couple, it came out of nowhere and it had me on the edge of my seat. And I enjoyed every scene that Leatherface was in from beginning to end. And I even enjoyed Viggo Mortensen in this movie. Like, he started out. I mean, yeah, I knew it was obvious that he was no good, even though he looked like the nice guy, because we've seen that in previous movies where the person you think is good is part of the Cannibal Family anyway. But Viggo,
like, he gets shot and then just disappears.
He completely chews the scenery so good as in this movie. And it's really fun seeing, what he was doing way early in his career before, Lord of the Rings. It shows you how versatile he is as an actor. He can be Aragorn, and then way earlier he can be part of Leatherface's Cannibal Family, and still embrace the role.
And he wasn't even the original choice, like someone else was, and they didn't work out. So Viggo was brought in, and he did it. Just like with Lord of the Rings, obviously, he was not the original choice. A different dude, which we know who that was, though. When Lord of the Rings, it was the guy from Queen of the Damned who played Lestat. He was the original choice of Aragorn, but they said he was too young and it just didn't work out. He just didn't come off as Aragorn, so they replaced him a week, like 2 or 3 weeks into filming, and they brought Viggo in, and he did it. And so that's which.
Well, I guess that was a good thing because Viggo was one of the standouts in those movies.
He is a great Aragorn. He's so good. in that movie. And I will say that I think in this movie he's just. If I didn't see Lord of the Rings, I would probably think he's not that good of an actor to me personally.
Okay.
Like if I had not seen, like I've seen History of Violence and Lord of the Rings. I know he's a good actor.
Yeah.
It's just I just don't think he's very good in this movie.
Yeah, I thought he was the standout. He just, like I said, he just chews the scenery. He just revels in the fact that he's slaughtering and eating people, and I was just enjoying how.
I mean, I felt the
over-the-top he
same
was.
way about Matthew McConaughey in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. If I had not seen all his other films, I would think he's an awful actor. But then you watch him in like A Time to Kill, which by the way, that movie that you're gonna have to look at eventually. You're gonna have to look at that movie.
A Time to Kill.
No, the other one. Return.
Oh,
it's called
the
Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Oh, that's the one with McConaughey.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch that one.
Isn't Reese Witherspoon in that one too?
No, Renee Zellweger.
Oh, Renee Zellweger. Sorry.
Yeah. By the way, I will say though, Matthew McConaughey is very entertaining to watch though in that movie. He's very entertaining. I'm just like, what the hell? Oh, by the way, I mean, you ever want to see? He makes every time he jumps off car, he goes beep beep beep. It's just like. Did they tell him to say this, or is he just like winging it?
The same actor who later won an Academy Award for
Dallas Buyers Club and was nominated for an Oscar for A Time to Kill. He was nominated. He was nominated.
I think Vigo was eventually nominated too. I think wasn't he nominated for Green Book?
I think so. Was it? There was another movie way before that. I think was it Hidalgo or something like that.
I've never seen that movie, but I know of it. I don't know if it had any.
I want to say or A History of Violence, or it was one of those movies that came out, or Eastern Promises. One of those three. I could have sworn because I was like, he was at the Oscars around that time. I know he was. He should have been nominated for Lord of the Rings.
I know he wasn't nominated for Lord of the Rings, but I wish he was because he was great in it. I wanted to see awards and nominations. Viggo Mortensen. Let's see. I'm looking it up right now. He's been nominated 3 times at the Academy Awards. Eastern Promises in 2008.
Told you, I was the one.
Captain Fantastic.
That's the next one. I forgot. I was like, this is one recent.
And then Green Book was the most recent he was nominated for.
He's a good actor. I will say he's a great actor.
I mean, I've seen, of the 3, I've only seen Green Book, and he is terrific in that movie.
I've never seen it. I've only seen the scene where, like, people that were upset about it was the one where, like, the Mahershala Ali's character, he's like trying to try fried chicken for the first time, and people were upset. People were upset about that scene because they said it was a white director that made it, and they said it shouldn't have won because they felt like it was, what was it called? It was like it was doing something like it was profiting or colorizing, like something like that.
White savior or some crap like that.
Yeah. And people were upset about that. Like, just like right now, people are mad about The Woman King because it's written by 2 women that are white. And so people are like, oh, this movie, don't go see it because, like, they were making them the heroes and they're the bad people in the real life. They were bad people. The Women King were bad people. They were taking their slaves and they were making light of it. And I'm like, it's Hollywood fiction. Okay, it's Hollywood fiction.
Yeah, I feel the same way with Green Book. Yeah, it's based on a true story, but it's the Hollywood version of it. I mean,
do you think Titanic's real? You think Leonardo DiCaprio drowned on the door because there was not room on the door?
Like, his character wasn't even in the real story. The character James Cameron made up for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give that a pass, but like, oh no. We can't have.
No, we can't have Vigo giving Mahershala Ali Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean,
that's
it's a silly scene. I guess I see where people are upset about it because the dialogue is a little, but the movie itself, it's got a big heart. Vigo is terrific, and he and Mahershala have great chemistry. I wouldn't have given it Best Picture, personally.
And you know who won the Best Director, right? You know who the director was, right?
Oh, I know, Peter Farrelly.
One of the Farrelly brothers. Yeah, one of the Farrelly brothers.
It's so trippy that he went from Dumb and Dumber to Green Book.
To Green Book. Yeah. They also made movie 43.
Oh,
him and his brother.
Wow.
Where if you ever seen that movie, that is a movie where Hugh Jackman. There are big names in this movie too. It's a parody, but
I've heard of
Hugh
it.
Jackman has testicles on his face.
Yeah.
Has testicles where his throat is ball sack. And Kate Winslet is also in there. And like his neck goes in the water. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed my ass off watching it because my friend had just died in real life. My friend had just died in a tragic boat accident, and so I was me and my other friend went to his funeral, and we left, and we wanted to just laugh because it's kind of depressing when you're at a funeral and you see like his mom's there and you see like all these people are there. And you're like, he's like 16 years old and he just passed away, and so you're just like, man, that's like really sucked. And so we just like we went to Redbox and rented like a couple of movies, and we rented like one of them was movie 43. And we come home, we were laughing our ass. It did cheer us up. So I'm saying, if you ever wanted to laugh at something, it's just something to laugh at. Because I said, like honestly, I mean, it was really like, I mean, obviously the movie's not great, but like it was something to laugh at. Like I did not laugh. Like I was laughing so hard. Some people got offended by it because it made like a lot of like it made like gay. Like there's one the whole video about the girl from Kick-Ass is on her period. And like they literally like make a joke about it. And you know who directed that segment? Elizabeth Banks.
Oh my goodness.
James Gunn directed a segment too in there.
Oh wow.
He directed about a cartoon cat that wants to fuck his owner. James Gunn directed that segment. It stars the dude from Transformers and Elizabeth Banks and a cartoon cat. And what it is about James Gunn directed that sketch where it's about a cartoon cat wants to fuck Josh Duhamel, and Elizabeth Banks is his new fiance, and she does it. And every time she walks in, the cat's masturbating itself or sticking a plunger up its ass and getting off on pictures of Josh Duhamel. And at one point, there's something really gross to Elizabeth Banks, to where I'm just like, she agreed to do this movie. I just want to explain that she agreed to do that movie, this sketch. She agreed to do that sketch, and she agreed to direct the sketch about a girl on her period, where they just mock a girl for having her period. That's the whole sketch. Is like she has her period, like, oh my god, she's bleeding. Call 911. Oh god, and you're just like it's so stupid, but you can't help but laugh. We were just like we needed to laugh, so we just laughed, and it's so stupid. And there's an alternate cut of that movie too, by the way.
Oh,
there is an alternate cut of that movie that I've heard about. I'm like, wait, there's an alternate cut to that movie. But anyway, like there's even one sketch where it's the stupidest sketch of the movie is. There's a couple of stupid sketches. Like one is with Macaulay Culkin's brother and Emma Stone, and they're just making perverted jokes over the intercom. Then remember when you tickled my butthole, and he goes, "Remember when you gave me the chlamydia?" And they're just over the microphone saying this stuff. You're just like, this isn't even funny. It's just stupid. And then there's one where like Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott, they kidnap a leprechaun played by Jared Butler, and they try to kidnap him, and he beats the shit out of both of them.
And you're getting on me. You're giving me a hard time for liking Texas Chainsaw 3, and you're admitting that you're liking movie 43.
All right, well, we're not perfect, asshole. Okay, like there's some shit we like and everything. My friend had just died. Damn it! When your friend dies, you can say I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and I laughed my ass off. It was so good. And then I'd say, well, I can't really say nothing because that's a dark. If I had watched movie 43 and my friend hadn't died, I probably would have much of a stronger opinion going, that was terrible. I would never watch this. But at the fact there are some funny moments in the movie, though. There are some funny moments. Like, I thought was funny. Like, they had one where they had, like, a naked chick, and it's like an iPod. She's like an iPod. Naked chicks are iPods in this world, apparently. And basically... And people are having sex with iPods and getting their dicks ripped off, and that's where the engine is in the vagina. And so they had to put up a disclaimer saying, don't fuck the iPod. Because this says, a guy goes, and they're like, why would you put the fan there if they're going to do that to it? Put the fan somewhere else. And it's just like, it's Richard Gere, by the way. It's Richard Gere in the sketch. It's Richard Gere is the CEO of the iPod. And in the deleted scene, he has sex with one of the iPods, by the way. In a deleted scene, you see him having sex with an iPod.
Who greenlit this movie?
Oh, also, by the way, there's Anton Yelchin was in the sketch where it was him committing necrophiliac on a dead corpse.
Oh my gosh.
That was deleted, though, because that's too far. Oh, there's also a racist Halle Berry sketch with the guy from where the British dude, the tall British guy from Tooth Fairy.
Oh,
You seen Tooth Fairy?
I've seen Tooth Fairy.
He's the blonde dude with glasses, the one that's partners with The Rock. He's a British guy, tall British guy.
Oh.
He's also in Logan. But yeah, Steven, I think Steven something. Steven Merchant, I think his name is.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah, they play Truth or Dare in the movie, and they tells I dare you to go blow this blind kid's candles out. And, and she goes, and the kid goes, I did it. Just and then they goes, I dare you to go and touch a man's ass, and then he goes and does it. And then it's like, I dare you to go get a surgery to make yourself look Asian. And then he does, and he gets his face like that. And then she gets a bad Botox, and then she goes, I had a good time. He goes, I had a good time too. And he goes, well, maybe you want to hook up with me? And she goes, I'm sorry, I don't date Asian guys. Just like, oh, he's not even Asian. He just got his facial surgery. And then he goes, I'm just kidding. Let's go have sex. And they both look ugly because they fucked up their faces for the Truth or Dare. And you see, he's smiling like an Asian guy, like a racist, stereotypical caricature of an Asian trolley. And it's the stupidest fucking movie to see, but it's funny because it's just like, it's so stupid.
Okay, I lost you for a second. Hey, you there? You there? Oh.
Can you hear me?
No,
I'm sorry.
Is your internet acting up?
It went white for a second, so I was like, oh shit, the internet. But now it's back. I got full bars now, so we're good.
It's good you're back.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's go back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right. So there's some backstory behind this movie. Backstory.
Yeah, I actually read a little bit about that, and I apparently the movie when it came out originally was given an NC-17 rating.
They had to keep submitting it.
And they had to keep resubmitting it to give it that R rating, and they eventually had to cut like 4 minutes worth of violent scenes to give it an R rating. And apparently there's an unrated cut of Texas Chainsaw 3 out there. I unfortunately did not see that cut. I had to rent this movie off of YouTube because it wasn't on any streaming service, and they had the theatrical cut, which was rated R. So I can't say if the violence did anything to improve the movie or not. Most of the violent stuff in the movie, there's a little bit of gore in the film, but a lot of the more brutal stuff involving the cannibal family, I noticed a lot of it was done off camera, where it's like implied what they did. And I'm not like the biggest gore fan in the world. I mean, I don't hate it by any means. I just don't think that is like the most effective way of scaring an audience with horror movies. I'm more of your tension and suspense building type movies, and sometimes when you don't see the event, it makes the thing all the more scarier. And so some of the stuff the family was doing, some of the cuts that were made, I was like, wow, the movie was having me on edge. Like I think the one girl's boyfriend was dangling upside down, and you see a little girl who was absolutely terrifying in the way. By the way, there's like this little girl who had.
She was
like
in Friday the 13th.
Oh, she was?
Her, and that guy that plays the brother. Is he her brother or boyfriend? I thought it was a brother.
But I'm talking about there's this little girl who has a doll of a dead corpse or whatever.
Yeah.
She was creepy.
Yeah. She was in Friday the 13th, New Blood.
Oh, she was in one of those movies. I haven't seen that.
So was the guy. So was the husband. So was the boyfriend that's on the road trip with her. They were in the same exact movie. They were in the same movie too.
That's pretty neat. But like the part where she ends up pulling the string and the hook comes down, I'm like, yeah, I liked that scene was more brutal from not seeing the actual impact, I thought.
That was actually really good. Like there's a lot of great gruesome stuff in this movie, but
Yeah, and
they also trimmed it down.
like even the main girl was like nailed to a chair for like a good chunk of the time she was at the house, and some of the gore that we still got, that I think was some of the more brutal I thought, and I was actually impressed by some of the practical effects and you know pulling that off. Like, 'cause I was just on edge of her character. Like, okay, she's got to get out of there, but even her getting out of there is going to be a lot of pain because she has to like unnail her hands off of the chair to escape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ooh.
Did the little girl wait? What I could have swore then the little girl, she survived at the end, right? The little girl. I mean she survived, but like did she like get taken away in the police car? Was
I
that
don't
in the deleted
remember.
scene? Because I saw in the deleted scene she threatens the girl, and then you see that she's being pulled away in handcuffs in the car, and it says, and the license plate says, "Don't fuck with Texas."
Nah, I didn't see that.
That must be the deleted scene. They cut it out.
That must have been either a deleted scene or in the other cut.
Yeah, because that scene's in there. Not in the theatrical cut, but I mean that scene that exists.
Because I noticed a few of the family, you don't know what happened to them. I know we see what happens to Leatherface, and then Viggo Mortensen. I love that that one dude just like barbecues him outside, and the car blows up.
Yeah, like what was it? I want to show this. Like, yeah, when the car, like right here, the car right here. You see it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Like I like this. I like the scene when like when they put the car up, and then you hear
to change the tire,
and then you hear like that. Yeah, like this scene right here.
That was the scene that I was talking about. That was the first time where I was genuinely terrified of Leatherface. Was that opening scene where you see Leatherface in action?
Also, the grandma. The grandma is pretty freaking weird, by the way, too. I just want to say.
Oh yeah, the one with the like little voice thing on her neck.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I just did not like the way, because if you listen to like the dialogue, it implies Leatherface raped a woman, and that's that's his daughter, and I'm like, could they have reshot that or re-edited that to make it like that's his niece or something? Because I just did not like the fact like Leatherface is mentally challenged, and he wears like a dead skin on his face. I don't like the fact that they try to make him a rapist. Like they tried that shit with Jason in part 3 of Friday the 13th, and I did not like that. I'm like, these characters are not rapists. I mean, they're murderers, but they're not rapists. Why do they have to make them rapists? I just don't like that aspect of it.
I think probably to make the characters more evil,
scary, yeah,
and more scarier. That aspect did not bother me at all because Leatherface is supposed to be a terrible character, and if that added implied dialogue makes you hate him all the more, I personally am not offended by that.
I mean, like I will say this character is much creepier. I mean, sorry, wrong one. I will say like the character in the bathroom stall.
Oh,
like,
thank you for bringing that up. The guy in the bathroom that was peeking the hole at the girl. That was a brilliant nod to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I don't know.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn, Anne Heche. How great is that movie? I'm joking. I know the original movie.
Yeah, but where Norman Bates, peeks his eye out and
Anthony Perkins,
Anthony Perkins, and sees Janet Leigh undressing in the hotel room.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was the Texas Chainsaw 3 has a brilliant nod to Psycho with the guy peeking through the girl in the bathroom. I'm like, dude, somebody loves Alfred Hitchcock. I dig it.
Yeah, which I mean, there is a lot of great nods. Like like I will say, I did not mind like when the truck comes out, and was that the second one or is that the first? No, that's the second one, right? Where the truck comes out.
There is a giant truck that follows the characters in this movie, and then it catches up with the car, and then
I just want to be clear. I did not rewatch this movie last night. I just want to point out a fun disclosure. I did not watch this movie last night. I have already seen this movie multiple times. I did
my homework, and this is my first time watch.
I've seen the movie several times where I'm like, I know the movie by heart, but I'm like, I did not watch this movie last night like you. But I've seen it several times, so I know what happens. Like, do you know that originally the black guy, played by Ken Fourier, he was supposed to die in the movie. Like, he actually
Oh
gets
wow.
killed. If you see the scene, he actually gets cut up by Leatherface, but he somehow survives. And they said that, and what happened
Oh,
was test screenings. What happened?
test screenings.
Yeah.
Always
What
test screenings.
they carried, so apparently everybody's like, "Oh, we love his character. He should live." And so apparently, then they went back with a new director. By the way, they hired a new director, went out there and reshot the ending because Leatherface and him were supposed to die from their wounds in the swamp.
Mm.
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
do say there is some nods to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because Leatherface gets he gets blown up, so he's now wearing a prosthetic leg, and also the fact is that Stretch, if you look, the girl that reported smoking a cigarette when they're passing the road, that's the girl from the second film.
Oh wow. I didn't
Yeah,
catch
Stretch.
that.
That's Stretch. Yeah,
I actually liked Stretch in Texas
I liked her
Chainsaw
too.
2.
I just did not like the
I
fact.
liked her better than any of the teenagers in the first movie.
Oh, come on, you're being sacrilegious now, you little bastard. Okay, you
The,
asshole.
the first one's a better movie, but Stretch and Dennis Hopper were more entertaining.
Okay. By the way, I just want to point out if you're watching, he loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He said that's his favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie out of all four.
Just of the ones I've seen, I enjoyed Texas Chainsaw 3. I know.
Oh, he said
sacrilegious.
Michael Bay's movie sucks. He said Michael Bay once. He said Michael.
I haven't seen it. I've only seen 1, 2, and 3.
You will actually like that one. I'm not gonna lie, you will like it because, dude, I'm telling you, that is the best. Honestly, if you would have put this one, the '74 film, and you would have put the 2003 remake, I would watch the 2003 any day of the week. Because I will say this though, you're probably gonna like the sheriff more than Leatherface in that movie because it feels like he's more of a henchman to the sheriff in that movie than he is like the main villain. But he's so good. The sheriff is so good. Do you know who R. Lee Emery is?
Oh, yeah, I know him. Full Metal Jacket.
He is the sheriff in that movie.
Yeah.
And he plays the villain, and he is so freaking good in that movie.
Oh, wow.
To where you're like, this dude deserves a fucking Oscar because he literally says that he literally is like this evil to where you're like, this dude is evil. Michael Bay made 2 films. He made the 2003 remake, and then it did so well, and everyone loved it. Then they went and made a prequel because the movie ends itself. It kind of wraps itself up at the end, to where you don't. There's no way we can make a sequel because it wraps itself up at the end. And so they said, you know what, we can do a prequel, and they did a prequel.
Oh wow!
A lot of people didn't care much for the prequel compared to the 2003 one. I like both films, but a lot of people said the 2003 one was much better.
Yeah, I'll have to check those 2 out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll review them one day. We'll review them. And we'll do that, okay? We'll review the movies. That way, I know you're going to be like, oh, this is my favorite movie right here, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And that's your favorite movie right there.
Well, we'll see how the other ones compare. This is just on the 3 that I've seen. This is the one I enjoyed the most.
I will say that this scene right here, where they're driving down the road, like, that's all California. That's not Texas, by the way. He wanted to go to shoot this in California. The director was like, he begged them, let's shoot this in Texas. And they're like, we already started building the shit in California, bro. We can't go and shoot that in nowhere else. And so that's all California desert, by the way, if you're watching. This is all California. There is no Texas here. Like, this is all California. And by the way, and then you got Leatherface that looks like a freaking, a cyborg. Like, he's walking around with a prosthetic leg. By the way, this is Jacob Martin's favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So, yeah, he's going to go buy his action figure afterwards.
Hey, I didn't say the movie was perfect. It does have its flaws.
You're going to go buy his action. Look at me. I'm wearing... Look, this is his favorite character. He's like, oh, look at me. I like this character. Same facial design. No, but it's cool.
But I guess if I had to some of the issues I have with the movie.
What are some of the issues you have?
Well, some sequences didn't add up even when I watched it. Like the whole thing where they run over the armadillo, and they make a big deal out of it. I'm like,
it's an armadillo.
It's an armadillo. I mean, it's just wildlife, and you're treating it like it's your pet.
How stupid! How stupid, by the way. was it like they just literally ran off the roads and they're both off the road. Like they see the dead guy and they both run off the road and you're like, well, can't they both get one of their cars back? Whatever. Like it just feels like they just needed to get them like crash somewhere.
Yeah,
And
and that scene was pretty poorly done too. Like the two characters like see Leatherface at the same time, and then they somehow crash into each other. And then the editing was just so disjointed there. I'm like, what just happened? Like, who's this black character that just showed up out of nowhere? And what's with the like? How did they run into each other? I'm so confused.
by the way, they said that in the IMDb trivia says that he said this is also the second movie that the only two survivors is him and a white woman. This and Dawn of the Dead are the only two movies where you see Vig Rhymes' soul survives with a white woman. So this is the second movie. I think that's on purpose now because they're like, well, Dawn of the Dead he lives, and you know what the sad thing is, this also connects to Dawn of the Dead, the original movie, where they were supposed to both of them were supposed to die at the end of Dawn of the Dead, but George Romero changed it last minute because he wanted to make it a more ambiguous ending. So they made him live, get in the chopper and leave. And so basically, of course, like with this movie, he was supposed to die. So it's like, he's supposed to die. And I'm like, they decided to make him live because test screenings loved him. It means if you love someone,
aside from the poor way they introduced his character, I actually did like that character overall. He definitely had some fun. I think he was like the comic relief character that I enjoyed. I did enjoy seeing him on screen. I think I especially enjoyed when he took on Vigo. I think that was one of the highlights. I will say the final confrontation with him and Leatherface was pretty disappointing. They're fighting in the marshes and stuff. And the lighting is so bad when they were fighting, I couldn't tell who was fighting who. And plus the editing was pretty rough too. I don't know if that was part of the censoring or anything, but I did not. I think the final the final fight was pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you want to know where this opened at the box office? What number it hit at the box office? Like where it opened?
This one didn't do well. It flopped.
So, yeah, but where did it open? What number do you think it got out on the opening weekend?
4.
Number 11.
Oh, wow.
And then it dropped even worse. It went 56% in its second weekend.
Oh, wow.
They say they lost money. They said this was the lowest grossing Texas Chainsaw movie until Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation.
Oh, that one did worse.
Yeah, this one did bad, but then the next one did even worse.
And the Michael Bay one was the comeback.
Oh, Michael Bay. Look, I can go all day about Michael Bay's great. You know what? I will say this, okay? Michael Bay's. I'm gonna do a little small rant on this movie. Small praise. All right, listen. People say, "Oh, well, if a movie's been beaten to death with a dead horse, can you bring it back?" Yes. Look at Michael Bay's film. That movie opened number 1 and stayed number 1 for a while. And then guess what? It was considered. People loved it. Critics loved it. It did really well at the box office. And Michael Bay also was able to make. Also, it started, unfortunately, the remake trend, because after that movie hit, everybody started remaking every IP because they're like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is doing really well and it's really well received. We're gonna start remaking. Then, of course, you got Dawn of the Dead came out afterwards. Then you had The Hills Have Eyes. Then you had Amityville Horror, which was also made by Michael Bay. And then you also had Hitcher, which was also made by Michael Bay. Then you had The Hills Have Eyes too, and you had Halloween, and then you had what's it called? What was that one remake they did? Night of the Demons, and then you had, of course, Halloween, and then of course Friday the 13th, which was also made by Michael Bay. Then you also had Nightmare on Elm Street, which was also made by Michael Bay. Yeah, they also got in trouble also remade a lot of the movies too, because they're also at fault for that. Which they said from now on they said we're not remaking any more movies. They said that now. They said because people don't want they want sequels. They don't want remakes. Which there are some good remakes. I will say I will watch. Have you ever watched Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Nah, I've just seen the John Carpenter.
Watch it. It's actually, I will say though, like 40% of it is an original story, and the rest is like a retelling of Carpenter's film. But he does things differently though. Like he actually makes like Michael Myers. Okay, if you really like Michael Myers, you know how you've seen in the movie how he's mysterious, like how he just gets around. He's a big motherfucker in that movie. Like he is, like he's 7 foot tall or 8 foot tall. And it's the dude that played Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie.
Oh, gotcha.
He plays Michael Myers, and that dude is 8 foot tall. And I would not mess with him. And Rob Zombie does something in that movie that is unique. Everybody in that movie is an asshole to Michael Myers, to where you're almost like rooting for him to kill these people because they're all bad people that he kills in that movie. Like Rob Zombie kind of did a metaphor on this movie about how we're all assholes and die, and Michael Myers the cure to this. You know, and
yeah, that's gonna rub me off honestly because I like Michael Myers being like the personification of evil, and to me that's more scarier than like rooting for the slasher because
I know I watched
it worse.
The only person that he does like to kill 2 or 3 people that you're like, why did he kill these people? They're not bad people. But then yeah, like there are 3 people he kills, so you're like, why did he kill them? They're not bad people. But like it is like if you want to see his backstory, like you know, if you ever wondered what happened, like it shows you like you know him in the Mandalorian. It shows. I will say I'm not gonna try to spoil it. It does do like it does it explains every single thing you've always wondered like what about him in the hospital and everything. And I will say if you go, I will say he does one thing better than Carpenter in my opinion. He does one thing better than Carpenter did.
What do you think on that? Like what?
All right, so you know how in the movie, how he's like, you know, they do the suspense of Michael walking up to the door and she's knocking on the door for Tommy to let him in. And then he lets him in and then shuts the door and he sneaks in through the window to try to kill Laurie. They don't do that in that. They do not do that in this one.
Oh, they don't?
No. Instead, you see like, he's like, Tommy, where's Lindsay? And she goes, I'm right here. And then you hear Michael knock at the door and you see he's taller than the damn door. And then you're like, and then he runs up and he busts that door and he goes, pfft. Bust that door and then Jason, I'm like, holy shit. I was like, holy shit. Because he just goes, bust that door open. And I'm just like, damn. Because he just, I ain't sneaky. He didn't do that sneaky shit. He just goes, like, this dude literally, something like, he picks up a fucking car in the second one. Like a little, like, beetle bug car. He picks that shit up. And I'm like a lot of people did have issue that they said Michael Myers is like a giant freaking monster in this movie than he is. He's a man that, like, the idea of Michael Myers is supposed to be he's a man that can do supernatural stuff. But in this movie, this dude is freaking Andre the Giant, Michael Myers mask on. This dude literally can kill. He can bust through any door, any object, because he's like literally. This man is a Terminator. This is a Terminator. As Michael Myers. Like something, I actually like that one scene. That I still to this day get goosebumps when he just like he doesn't do that. I'm like, I think Rob Zombie did it better because you're like, this man is trying to kill you, and so he just busts through that door, and you're just like, but he does also. Rob Zombie tweaks that. I'm not trying not to spoil it, but he tweaks that. He does not. You know how he tries to kill Laurie in the first movie?
Yeah.
He does something different in this movie.
Ooh.
Mike, because you know if you watch Halloween, how you find out in the second one that's Michael Myers' sister.
Yeah, I think that was a stupid twist.
Well, Michael Myers doesn't. I don't want to say to you. I don't want to say it because it's. I don't want to say it, but it's just like it's. It actually, I will say, makes sense in a way. It makes sense. I think. I don't know. I feel like that's this. Rob Zombie does tweaks that idea of instead of him trying to kill something else, instead of him trying to kill his sister, something else happens, and he tweaks that idea.
All right.
He tweaks it. You gotta watch it, man, because we gotta review that shit because it is so good. I'm not gonna say it's not the best remake. It is not. I will say it's not no Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I will say Rob Zombie. I thought the two can stand on their own. Like it's not gonna differ. Like you could watch Rob Zombies and enjoy it just like you could watch this. I will say though, some people did criticize that movie because they said, "Oh, Rob Zombie remade." It's just like the last 40 minutes is like just a remake of Carpenter's movie, except he changes a few minor things. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. But like also, if you watch Halloween 2, Michael Myers is a homeless guy walking around, and he wears a hoodie and has a long ass beard, and he barely wears the mask in the movie, and he kills people in like his hobo outfit. Like he wears his overalls, but he also has a jacket on with a hoodie, and you can see you can see his face, and he has a long beard, and you're just like, I was like, and also there's a white horse involved, by the way. Yeah, he can see his
Really?
dead mother. He can see his dead mother with a white horse.
That just sounds like nonsense. The
It's
way
a
you're
trippy
describing
fucking
it.
movie. It's a trippy fucking movie. Like, a lot of people did not like that movie because they said it is so out there. Like Michael Myers is literally talking to his dead mother through child form.
Oh my god.
Like he's like a henchman to a dead child, young version of himself. But I will say the first act of the movie is really good. Now the third act, I really like the third act of the movie. The middle is where it gets weird because like he just goes around, and you can hear him grunt when he kills people in that in Halloween too. Like he goes, "Argh, argh, argh, argh." I'm just like, hey, why is he grunting? You just hear him go, "Argh, argh." I'm just like.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I know you're like, what the fuck, Rob Zombie? Really?
I will say, like, continuing on the remake
Yeah,
thing, like you
Leatherface.
talked about Dawn of the Dead. I've only seen the Zack Snyder one.
Watch on YouTube. You can't on YouTube. They have the whole '78 film on YouTube for free.
Oh wow.
Like, just type in "not Dawn of the Dead" 1978, and then it's in perfect condition. I honestly, when I'm lazy and I don't want to pop out the Blu-ray, I'll go watch it on YouTube. It's like someone uploaded it because that movie's out of print. You cannot get it anywhere.
Oh wow.
That movie's out of print because the owner of the rights, you can get it. And also, I know if you'll look it up, it'll say 4K. You can buy it. Yeah, you can buy the what's it called, the Region B disc, but you can't buy Region A disc, which is us. Like you can buy a UK version import of it, but you can't buy an American version of that movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because the owner of it, him and George Romero didn't like each other, Richard Bernstein, and so basically Richard Bernstein controls the sole rights to Dawn of the Dead. And so that's why, he can never, ever, like, George never can get the rights. And so unless he passes away and his estate decides to put it on Blu-ray, they can't really do nothing. They had it on Blu-ray for a little bit, but then, like, he withdrew the rights again and said, nope, it's not coming out anymore. And so now those discs are like $100 to $200 for just one Blu-ray of that version.
Man, that's crazy.
It's like $50 for the DVD.
Man, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's out of print, just like Bachelor Party's out of print, really. You would think these movies shouldn't be out of print. Why are these movies out of print?
I don't get it.
They're good films. I just don't think they need to be out of print.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cocoon's out of print too?
Really?
Yeah, Cocoon is out of print.
It's crazy. That's
Zodiac was out of print for a long time. Zodiac, until David Fincher, people told David Fincher about it, and he talked to Warner Bros. And they made a deal to make it where it won't stay in print. Because used to, if you 5 years ago, if you would have went and bought a Blu-ray for Zodiac, that movie would have been at least $100.
Oh wow.
For Zodiac on Blu-ray because it's out of print.
That's crazy.
But when David Fincher heard about it, he contacted Warner Brothers about it and said, "We need to fix that." The studio was just, they said it wasn't high enough demand to make it. That's why they didn't make any more discs. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. What they do to movies.
Have you seen the Friday the 13th remake?
I've only seen the original.
You've never seen the anymore, really? You're like, is Pamela the killer of the remake as well? Who's Jason?
I know Jason. I've only seen Jason's mom.
Who's Jason? Isn't that the little kid? How did he come back? Was his mother a Satanist?
Yeah.
If Rob Zombie had directed that movie, his mother would be a Satanist.
Well, I didn't like the first movie. I thought it was boring. The only part I did like
it's
was
a whodunit too.
And I already knew the twist going in, so it wasn't that big of a shock. I was shocked that Jason was hardly in it. But
sure.
I was not crazy about it, and I was not compelled to watch any of the other ones.
So let me ask you, Jacob, for your final rating, what would you give this movie? Would you give, if you had to go see it in the theater, would you go see it in the theater, or would you rent it, or would you skip it? Your personal. Oh, I'm sure you'd go full price admission on this one.
I would honestly want to see it in the theater because I think if you had a crowd watch it, Well, at least if you're like me and enjoyed it, I think you would get into the more exciting elements of the movie. No, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie or anything. It's flawed. I haven't even brought up my other issue with the movie, like continuity. This movie is like all over the place. Like I don't know where this is continuity wise. Like I didn't like the movie like retcons two and
Two.
like the
And then it
opening.
doesn't retcon two though. It doesn't. It does and it doesn't. You know,
It
because stretches in there.
I think it ignores two, and then you talked about those Easter eggs, so that's a little confusing. And then the whole thing with this did not feel like a continuation. To me, this felt more like a big budget remake of the first movie.
And you know what's weird? Where did his family come from? Like in every film, he gets a new family, and you're like, where the hell do these people keep coming from?
There's always like the nice guy who ends up being bad. There's like the old lady. There's like the decomposed grandpa who's still alive somehow.
Like, how is that dude alive? That man should be dead 10 times over.
Yeah, but even with all its flaws, I was of the three Texas Chainsaw movies. This is the one that entertained me the most. I enjoyed Leatherface and how creepy he was. He was definitely the most disturbing in this movie, and there were even a couple parts that did some the dark humor that made me chuckle, like where he's typing food in the processor and it keeps going no, and he keeps typing food. I thought that I just thought that was kind of funny, and then you see the chainsaw that says the gold chainsaw that says the saw is family. I was actually I was digging the dark humor of this movie.
And did you see that one girl? There's just randomly one girl running around. That's the only thing I thought was stupid. One random girl running around.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. The random girl who just showed up and she talked about how she was the last survivor and stuff. I'm like, I don't really care.
And the house looks nothing like the house from the. It just looks like something that was built, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house looks nothing like the house from the '74 film. Yeah. It just looks like a house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, if you watch this movie more so as a big budget remake of the first compared to the original, which was more of a lower budget, independently made film, I think you'll get into it more than accepting it as Texas Chainsaw 3.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space is where they need to go next.
Well,
Leatherface.
Well, it happened to Jason, didn't it?
And the Leprechaun and Hellraiser.
Oh wow!
Yeah, send Texas Chainsaw Massacre to space. That's all we need. Leather space. In space, no one can hear your chainsaw.
Oh wow!
Like, you know what the tagline for the next movie is?
Oh,
the one with Matthew McConaughey. You know what the tagline is?
Oh, what's that?
If looks could kill, she wouldn't need a chainsaw.
Oh yeah, you messaged me on the whole the next movie, Leatherface is a transgender. How does that work?
And they try to do, like, you should see the posters for it. Like the poster, like they did one poster where it's a sexy woman with like a leather face on the body and a chainsaw in one hand, and I'm just like, and then they have one where she has a lipstick and it's a chainsaw that's the lipstick part.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think they were trying to do something different. So they're like, what if Leatherface wants to be a woman? I think because Silence of the Lambs had came out at the time.
Oh, with the whole,
and so Buffalo Bill. So they were trying to make, like, what if Buffalo Bill had a chainsaw? I
gotcha.
Just like, some people would get offended by that, dude. I'm just saying, because I was talking, I think, with a friend of mine the other day, last year, about Silence of the Lambs, and I love that movie. And he goes, that's offensive towards trans people. I'm like, why? He goes, because there's one character that's like that wants to be trans that kills fat women because, you know, they want to be a woman, and, like, you know, trying to say that trans people are mentally ill in the head because they want to kill people and stuff. I'm like, that's not. I never got that from him. I'm like, that dude's just fucking crazy. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I don't even think they say he was trans. I think Hannibal Lecter gives thoughts.
I think he was trying to have an operation. I think that was like casually referenced.
But I mean, that movie exists for that time.
Was like mocking those people, though. I think it was just a mentally sick person.
Yeah, like if you see a white person, do you say, "Oh man, that movie"? If I see like a white, that's like saying Friday 13th or Texas Chainsaw. Oh, that makes fun of mentally challenged people because the guy mentally challenged with a chainsaw, and I'm like, it's a movie, like Jay, or like saying
Exactly.
Jason. People with like a dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, are like they go around killing people with a machete. Like it's a movie. It's not meant to be taken
Yeah,
seriously. You can't.
and another example, the
Freddy
M Night
Krueger.
Shyamalan Split. I know there were people that were complaining about, James
That is
McAvoy's
still
character had like the merciful personalities. Like, oh, this is making fun of people with multiple personality disorders. The movie's claiming that if you have these personality disorders, you're a serial killer and you kidnap women. So I'm like, no, that's just an extreme case
no.
made for a movie.
By the way, do you like Split, that movie?
Yeah,
That to me is that is James McAvoy's best performance ever. Like,
yeah,
have
I
you
agree.
ever noticed? I mean, I could geek out. We were talking to me and a different person were talking about Split the other day. I was texting with someone, and I was like, what I love about that movie is he can do multiple different personalities without even glasses. Like he literally gives like 7 different performances in one scene, and you're just like, this is amazing. Like like that is what acting is. That is the ultimate acting gig because
Yeah,
for someone like Jim Carrey, if you put Jim Carrey, I'm sure Jim Carrey could probably knock it off, but you couldn't give that much depth in a performance. Like I'm sure if you give, say, someone like Seth Rogen or Jason Bateman that the Split role, I'm sure they're not nearly going to be able to pull like off because you got to do like 7 different characters in one scene. That's impossible. I mean, most people couldn't, but James McAvoy, like, there's a scene where he has his glasses, like Dennis is the one with glasses, and he's being a different one, and then like you see Dennis is like this and I'm like, that's Dennis. And then I'm just like, for me to know that that's a different character, even though they're just doing it, it's just a person doing a different facial expression. That right there should show you that that's actually a good motivation in that scene. And I'm like, and I still to this day get emotional whenever the beast is coming and the 2 girls are trying to escape. And he's like the beast, like you see that, like, his body's morphing into the beast. And I'm just like, and that music is playing over and you're seeing all of his personalities. And I'm just like, that to me is what that right there should have gotten an Oscar nomination just for his performance. Because
yeah, he was phenomenal in that movie.
imagine if he was in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, it'd be the best Chainsaw movie ever.
Yeah,
He would go, he'd kill Leatherface and go, "I am Leatherface. The face is me."
yeah, that would be an interesting crossover right there.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah. By the way, you need to watch. You need to watch. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think is a good franchise. I would say though, I would recommend watch 4 and then watch because I'm gonna tell you now, you're gonna hate 4, but then you're gonna get the 2003 remake, and then you're gonna be so happy, and you're gonna be like, dude, that was really good. I would be shocked if you didn't like it because even Dave, I don't think Dave's even seen all of them. He watched the 2003 remake for me, and he said he enjoyed these. I really liked the sheriff in that movie. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a good
Yeah,
film. Oh, I got a
yeah.
funny story about Dave.
When the Dave didn't Dave collab with you on that one, the
Yeah.
2003 one?
Mm-hmm. Which we can always do a live stream on. Hell, I'll do a live stream on all of them with you if you want to. Because it's interesting to me. I've seen all of them, but like you haven't, so it's like almost like a reaction to you. I'm like, what'd you think? And you're like, I
Yeah,
hated it or I liked it. You're like,
yeah.
which
I was surprised because you were talking about how you were telling me it seemed like the Texas Chainsaw movies got worse after the original,
they do.
but then I actually did enjoy the third one out of the 3 that I've seen. Like the movie has like a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, and
Dude,
if
do
I
not listen to Rotten Tomatoes.
if
Do
I
not
if I
believe
had
Rotten.
to if I had to grade it, I gave it like a 70.
I mean, yeah, dude, don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes. Do you
No,
know what
I
they said?
don't.
They said that Rob Zombie's The Monsters is a 30%. They were the most kindest to Rob Zombie.
Oh
They said it was
wow.
30, and they said Halloween 2 is like 28%. And I'm like, bullshit.
I,
Halloween 2 is Citizen
is this
Kane
the are
compared
you
to
talking
the
about like the original Halloween 2 or the Rob Zombie Halloween 2?
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. They said at 28%,
Oh wow.
and they put Rob Zombie's The Monster at 30. And I'm like, there is no way. Halloween 2. I would rather watch Halloween 2 on a repeat for 2 hours over the Monsters any day of the week. I would rather watch Jeepers Creepers Reborn over the Monsters well, I don't know. That's like asking, would you rather be hit with a bucket of piss or a bucket of shit? I mean, really, I don't really have a segue for that, but anyway, there is no way, dude. I'm saying Rotten Tomatoes is biased. I actually had relatives from Germany come by back in April, and they were like, they saw like, what are the little vegetable symbols on for it? I'm like, oh, that's Rotten Tomatoes. Basically people go by like the reviews on that, see if the movie's good or not, and they go, you listen to movies based on vegetables, and I'm like, you listen to whether a movie's good based on a vegetable? They were like shocked to hear that. Based on a vegetable?
That's too funny.
I'm like, well, some people do. Some people do. They go, America. They say, we heard America's weird and strange, you know, but we didn't know they were that dumb. They were that dumb. I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah.
I'd say the craziest Rotten Tomatoes I've seen. I hate that we're going off topic, because She-Hulk in the MCU, like the critics score is like 87, and so far the audience score is like 37. Well, I'm leaning more toward the audience score because the show sucks.
I will tell you right now, I did not like the first episode. Like, I like parts of it, like the training montage, but I did not like the fight scene in the end because I thought that was a badly edited fight scene. Like, it just felt like a blink and you was like, it's over. And I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm sitting there watching, like, did I miss? I had to rewind it because I thought, is my TV messed up or something? And I'm like, no, it's just that fight scene was so badly edited to where I'm like, that was the worst edited. And apparently I wasn't alone because there was other people saying the same thing. And then on top of that,
I didn't think the scene was that good either.
I actually liked the Blonsky scene in episode 2. I thought that was a pretty decent scene. Like, Blonsky in prison, and you're like, I was supposed to be Captain America. I was supposed to be this Captain America. I actually felt sorry for him. I did not like his 7 brides or whatever. I was like, come on. I was like,
that's like my big issue with the show is like it relies too much on bottom of the barrel cringe humor to where it takes
John
me out of it.
John Campea. I like watching John Campea's show every day. Okay, and he has said he gave up on She-Hulk. He said, I'm done. He says because it's supposed to be a comedy and they're not funny though. The joke, if you're going to be a comedy, commit to your jokes. Do a joke. Instead, it's just like cringy humor.
That's like what I like She-Hulk twerking. That was awful. And that was not funny. And then She-Hulk Jennifer spending episode 6 of the wedding where her bridesmaid's marrying a dog.
I'm not gonna lie.
That was horrible.
Not gonna lie. The scene where she got sucker punched by Tatiana was actually, that made me chuckle because it's just like, you sucker punched me. You okay? I was like, I can see that happening in real life. That's me. I was like, I actually chuckled at that scene. That to me actually made me chuckle because I was not expecting that. I'm like, I actually thought Tatiana actually amuses me because she's just so out there. It's just like, that's such an out there character. I don't know why I just get abused by that. Even though I think it's pretty stupid. But I tell people this: turn off your brain. Do not see it. See it as a parody of Hulk. Like Inspector Gadget. Remember the movie Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget movie Disney made in the 90s?
I've heard of it. I hadn't seen it.
It's campy like She-Hulk. It's really campy, and I would say look at it like that. It's a campy it's like imagine like a cartoon that's live action. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just meant to be like meant to be like a Deadpool version of, except this version of Deadpool is more like made for kids more than adults. And I think it's just like that. I mean, it's not meant to be taken.
I guess I get that, but like Deadpool, as
works
juvenile as that was, it was funny. It was legit funny.
That's because they have
a broad range of jokes that different people can latch onto, and those 2 movies were fun.
Yeah.
She-Hulk is not fun to me. Like, the jokes don't land, the CGI is terrible, and the humor just relies more so on base level cringe humor that I just could not get into the show.
Okay, that's true. All right, so back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For your final rating, what would you give this movie?
3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay, would you see this full price?
Probably not full price, but I'd go to the dollar theater probably for it.
Would you do a matinee full? Would you go see it opening weekend, rent it, or would you just skip it?
Well, I said dollar theater, so that would be like a month or 2 after it came out. So
I would say it's a rental. If you're a diehard Texas Chainsaw, I'd say rent it. But Other than that, I probably would just say rent it. That's
But
it. If I had to, it's
I,
like out of 5, it's a 2 out of 5.
yeah, if I had to rate the other two, the first one, even though I think it's a little overrated, it's still a 3.5 because of its impact. And then I'd say I gave Texas Chainsaw 2 a 2.5
Okay. All
for
right.
context.
All right. So here you have it, folks. That's our review for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Jacob, I'm glad you came on. Hey, wait a second. I'm gonna talk to you after I end this, but um, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yep, it's
Like,
always a pleasure.
and we're gonna try to do Scary Movie 2. It's gonna be on Scary Movie 1. Sorry.
Yeah, Scary Movie, the watch party. Definitely come check that out. I have it original. I have it. Hopefully, we'll do it this Saturday, but we'll see what happens with my computer and all that. I'm getting it
Okay.
repaired this week because I've been having some technical issues on it. But if it's ready by Saturday, we'll do it this Saturday. If not, we'll do it next Saturday.
Yep. And then my mustache, I'll have like a full porn star mustache by then.
It'll be like with Mark Wahlberg and Boogie Nights.
Yeah. Except the penis won't be 7 inches. It'll be like or 12 inches. It'll be like it won't hang down to my foot. It'll be like people be like, imagine Mark Wahlberg if his dick wasn't big. That's what I would say.
All right.
But anyway, but I appreciate you coming on, man, and I appreciate it, and I'll see you this Saturday.
Yep. Fingers
All right.
crossed.
All right, good. Take care, guys.
Yep. Good night.